Hello everyone. In today's video we will continue working on rounding numbers. So we'll be doing some exercises together. In this first exercise, it asks us to round the number 6,382,745 first to the hundreds, then the thousands, then tens of thousands, and then hundreds of thousands, and then millions. Then we're going to be rounding a decimal number. Then we're going to be rounding this number right here, which has something special about it. So first with this one, let's copy it. Now we want to round it to the hundreds, which is this digit, meaning we have to look at the one right next to it to the right and think, is it a small number or a big number? Again, for anyone who does not remember, we consider small numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, whereas 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 are considered big numbers. So in this case, 7 has a small number after next to it. So what that means is that 4 and every number after it get turned to 0, and the 7 stays the same. Next, we want to round to the thousands. That means we look at the thousands digit, look at the one at the number right next to it. There's a 7. It's a big number. So now that it's a big number, it and everything after it gets turned to 0, but this time the digit that we're rounding to is increased by 1, so it becomes 3. Next, we want to round to the thousands, tens of thousands. That would be this digit. We look next to it, there's a 2, a small number. So it and everything after it becomes 0. And the digit we're rounding to stays the same. Then we have hundreds of thousands. So hundreds of thousands are here. Next to them, there's an 8, which is a big number. So it and everything after it gets turned to 0. But now the digit we're rounding to is increased by 1, becomes 4. So the number is rounded to 6,400,000. Next up, the millions. The millions are here. If you look next to them, there's a 3. That's a small number. So it and everything after it gets turned to 0. So the number gets rounded to 6 million. Next, we have 54.783. And we want to round this number first to the hundreds. The hundreds are here. Next to them is 3, which is a small number. So it becomes 0. But here is where rounding gets tricky, or with decimal numbers. It's tricky because in decimal numbers, when a 0 is at the far right of the number, in the decimal part of the number, if you remember, and it has no other numbers to its right, we should be deleting it because it has no reason to be there. Next, we want to round to the tenths. Tenths are here. Next to them is an 8, which is a big number, meaning that it and everything after it will become 0, but it will also increase the 7 by 1. We'll make it 8. And then these will become zeros. But like we said before, when the zeros are to the far right and they have no number after them, and they're in the decimal part, we delete them. So this becomes 54.8. Next we have the ones. Okay. The ones are here, right next to the left of the comma. Next to the ones is a 7, which is a big number. So The 4 gets turned to 5, and everything after it gets turned to 0. So we have 55.000. But because these zeros are in the decimal part of the number and there is no number after them, we can delete them. And we can also delete the decimal point. Lastly, we want to round to the tens. The tens are here. After the tens is a 4, which is considered a small number. So the 5 stays the same, and everything after it gets turned to 0. So these zeros that are after the decimal point, and they have no other number to their right, can be deleted. The decimal point can also be deleted. This 0 cannot be deleted because it would change the value of the number. It would turn it from 50, as it is now, to 5. We can't do that. So the number 54.783 gets rounded to 50. All right. Lastly, we have the number 14,999,999. And we want to round this to the thousands, right? So the thousands are here. Next to them to the right is a 9. And 9 is a big number, meaning that this 9 will increase by 1 and these 9s will become zeros. But if this 9 increases by 1, it will become 10. This 9, again, increases by 1, it becomes 10. So what are we going to do here? We're going to write 10. No, because 10 has 2 digits. So what we do is we write 0 and we carry 1 over to the next digit to the left. But this is 9 again. Plus 1 makes it 10 again. So again, I write 0 and carry 1 to the next digit. It's like a domino effect happens, right? These two were 9s, and because this 9 had to increase by 1, they all turned to 0. And then this will also increase by 1. So let's take it again step by step. Because the number got rounded, right, we have to increase this 9 by 1. It becomes 10. So I write 0, and I carry 1 over to the next digit to the left. So 9 and 1 that I carried over makes 10. So I write 0 again, carry 1 over to the next digit to the left. This 9. So this makes 10 also. So again, I write 0 and carry 1 over to this 4. 4 plus 1 makes 5. So no need to regroup. Now, what if this exercise asked me to round this number to the tens of millions? Tens of millions are here. Next to them is a 4, which is considered a small number. So this would get rounded down, meaning that all of these would get turned to zeros. And you might be thinking, okay, but how is that possible? In one case, we rounded it to 15 million. In the other case, we rounded it to 10 million. Well, yes, because when we were here, we were rounding to the thousands, first of all. But it was basically like saying, okay, is this closer to 15 million when we were rounding the first time? Closer to 15 million or the previous 1,000? So that would be 14,998,000. But now, because we were rounding to the tens of millions, it was basically like saying, okay, is this closer to 10 million or 20 million? Because that would have been the next number in the tens of thousands, in the tens of millions. This could either be 1 or 2. And the truth is that it's closer to 10 million than it is to 20 million. And that's why got rounded down to 10 million. It's closer to that than 20 million. That's not what the exercise was asking, so let's leave that for another time. That will be all for today. I will see you again in the next video on Friday. Have a good day.